I understand that, and I know that, if you look at certain religions and you'll see that, however, saying that you're with a younger man because you find him more sexually attractive or he's able to fulfill you sexually hasn't been, isn't something that's been talked about forever. And I think this is probably one of the first discussions that people are hearing where an Asian woman is sitting and quite openly saying, I date a younger man because he fulfills me sexually. I'm a sexual person. And I think this is why this subject is a little taboo, because anytime you have a woman talking about sex, it's a no-no.
Oh, definitely. I think society's threatened, but then that's why it's so interesting to have someone like Max who is here, I suppose. We're at polar ends. I'm representing the women's camp for sex, if you like. Not only sex, because I don't, I come at it from an intelligent view, I like to think. I'm articulate, I'm intelligent. It's not about me being some bimbo that's just, very far from that. It's about having an intelligent debate about what the desires of a woman and what she might want in an open fashion that, allows other people, and some people, women, come to me and say, thank you so much, Rita, for opening the door for me. I feel so much better about it. Or, let's try and, we can only ever start breaking down barriers if we start talking about things. It all goes on behind closed doors, but, let's bring it out in the open. And I guess that's what Max is doing. He's representing it from the guy's point of view, that guys, watch pornography, and it's a given fact.
Men want sex from the age of
course they do.
Adolescence to 75.
You don't say.
Want it all the time, every day.
But women do too.
Well, there's that statistic. What men think about sex, what is it, once every 60 seconds? Is it once a minute, or is it even more than that?
It's probably once every 10 seconds, I would say. But there's nothing wrong with that. I mean, but I think it's quite shocking to hear, within the Asian thing, that older women have a sexual drive. I've never heard it before, although yes, I know it exists, but to actually hear it out in the open, it's really, really strange. Because
what part of it is so strange to you?
Just thinking that.
Because we're the same age, aren't we?
I'm half your age. That makes me a good candidate.
You want to be a toy boy,
he wants to be like cubby. But he's married, of course.
If I want to.
Depending on the day.
Not on Tuesdays. But it's interesting because, we're getting back to, although you're saying your website's men who love younger women,
it's women who love younger women. Yeah, hello.
Shouldn't it be older women that need sexually satisfied by a younger man?
No, because that's one aspect of it.
Because for a man that's half the age of a woman will not look for a woman for love. He will look at it only as a sexual relationship.
Well, I think that's your objective opinion based on your experiences. I do know for a fact that a lot of younger men out there are having love relationships with women, and they're totally committed and want to marry them.
But is that more of a psychological need to be mothered more than?
Well, people always try and throw in the Freudian psychological.
Well, no, even if it was flipped and it was a man who, a woman who was with a man that was 30 years older or 20 years older, I would think that perhaps it's some sort of daddy issue that she has that she's dealing with through this relationship.
Well, I think you said right at the beginning, age shouldn't be a barrier to who you fall in love with, just like sexual orientation shouldn't be, race or gender shouldn't be. That's where I put it along whenever anybody throws that argument at me. How can you ever justify love? Yes, the sexual side of it, if that's all you're after, then, I think what you put into these kinds of things, if it's a shallow experience you're looking for,
then that's what you get.
I don't believe in objectifying people, male or female, for sex.
Yeah.
But I do believe that sex is natural, that we have healthy desires, and that it arouses a lot of, I guess religion has a lot to do with it. We're supposed to be in certain religions pious and modest. I guess a lot of people wouldn't describe me as that. Or even you, young man.
But I think that's the reason that people might react to this particular show is because, and I repeat this constantly on Broken Silence, that the Asian culture is kind of based on modesty.
Yes.
And anytime you deviate from that, you're going to get a reaction that's not always going to be positive. When was the last time you heard a 40-year-old woman talking openly and honestly about her sexual desires? There's more to come. You're watching Broken Silence. We'll be back after this short break.
Do you think there could be a long-term relationship out of it?
Depends what they're into, and how big the age gap is. If it's about 10 years, then yeah, probably. But if it's kind of 20, 30 year age gap, then it's going to cause problems.
Definitely. I mean, I think my mum and her boyfriend, I think they're about, the age difference between them's like 15 years. They've been together for 8 years. So, and they'll probably be together for longer, and I think they're having plans to get married, so I think it's okay.
No, you shouldn't even speak to them. It's just a friend thing. Because she could be a teacher, she could be a mum.
It depends. Like all relationships, it depends how they both think about each other and everything.
I think so, yeah, I think it wouldn't be that bad. There's a couple of famous people who've done it, so it can work out. But it's probably harder than most relationships, yeah.
Yes, I think so. If obviously there would be an age difference of 30 years, then socially, culturally, and even personally, that would create a lot of not problems, but like potential problems. If it's just a few years, then that's fine, yeah.
Hi, you're watching Broken Silence. I'm Sonia Gardez, and today we're talking about women who love younger men, a subject that's not often discussed on in Asian households ever, actually. Max, if there was a website, and I don't know if there's one that exists, that says men who love younger women, do you think it would get a pretty negative reaction?
But men do love younger women.
Yeah, but now, you know, we're in this age of political correctness, and if a
consent.
man was overtly saying, well, we see Hugh Hefner and his girlfriends, and anytime, you know, once they hit 30, he gets rid of them and gets a new load of girlfriends. But if a man, like, you know, if you were sitting up there and saying, look, I only date younger women, or I'm only attracted to younger women, I think the feedback you would get would be quite negative. What do you think?
Well, men would only date women that are younger than them, or relatively the same age. Going the other way up the scale, I've never heard it, and I don't think I will see it.
Now, you're an editor of a men's magazine, and you're telling me you've never heard of, and specifically for our audience, Asian women who date younger men. This is kind of a novel idea to you.
It's completely new to me. Even trying to get Indian women or Asian women to openly talk about sexuality is very, very difficult for us. I mean, we interviewed Sunny Leone, who's an Indian porn star in the States, and she was very forthcoming about the subject because that's her industry. But there are other people or other actresses in the industry that did not want to talk about it. It's although, you know, sexual subjects should be looked on as quite modern nowadays, it is, within the Asian community, it's still quite a shunned and taboo subject.
Just sex, period.
Yeah.
Now, you said you have a son and a daughter, and you're quite open with your son. Would you be as open with your daughter?
I don't know. I really just don't know at the moment, because I don't want to give out, you know, different vibes to my daughter. The way my wife and I have a relationship is that, you know, I will openly talk to my son and make sure he goes the right way. My son's and my wife will generally look after the daughter side. But if she's got any problems, I'm always there for her. Mm-hmm. You know, and she does talk about her problems, and I do help her in a way. But when it comes to a particular adult-themed subject, then I'd rather my wife
let your wife do it, right? Rita, what has been the reaction? And you're quite open about you know, your beliefs and what you do.
Yes.
What has been the reaction from your extended family?
Well, to be honest with you, I don't really, I class myself as a British person, I guess, of Asian origin. I was brought up in a very strict Punjabi Sikh household. And I guess a lot of my extended family know about what I do. They have their opinions about what I do, but because they know who I am, and I guess a long time ago I left the traditional, you know, I had to go through, you know, wanting to be forced into an arranged marriage, all that kind of stuff, you know, at 16, 17. They did try, but they didn't have much success. So I guess at the end of the day, the question should be, it's not what they think of me, is do I really take on board